Hi, I'm Alex Glassy. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer of Conductor Software, and my co-host, I don't know where he is on the screen, is Louis Glassy, and Louis is going to be manning. He's the one that sets up all the technical stuff and makes it simple so that all I have to do is walk in and look in the camera, which is fantastic. So thanks, Lou. So today we're going to talk about the last Metre. And there's been some discussion back and forth as to how you properly spell Metre. I think the REs have it. The REs one. Although in the United States, we did this a little earlier today, and in the United States they spell Metre Y-A-R-D. Where good sales go to die or to live. I think Lou, you're supposed to be going bum when I do those jokes. Yeah, sure. Get right on that.
Yeah, I am, but I'm muted.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Thanks. The invisible role of team dynamics in your customers' purchase decisions. So this is a particularly interesting topic for me because I've been in sales or running sales teams for a lot of my career. So I'm sort of a tech guy, but I found within a year or two that I really liked being in front of customers and talking about what they needed and all the rest of that stuff. And then through my various companies, I've built and run managed sales teams in a technology company. Had a big outbound sales team and call center for kind of an online company. And as a consultant, of course, we were doing consulting type sales. And then over the last 2 years, as in my role as conductor, we've had a chance to be seeing sales teams in a variety of different organizations, retail, technology, call centers. We've just got one. We just got an audit that we're doing right now inside a large team of about 800 or 900 people, and it's very, very interesting stuff. And it absolutely speaks to that second line, the invisible role of team dynamics. It's there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm really passionate about it, and let's get into it. So just a little bit about us to start off. Particularly, I think this one here is really important to us. We want every person in every organization to feel safe and productive at work. And this is interesting in sales teams. Sales teams are really, really numbers oriented. Many often. And it's go, and it's numbers. And what we can find is that you can get driven towards productivity, but as soon as if we're just focusing on numbers, sometimes we don't feel as safe as we could. And that actually feeds back into productivity, as we shall see. And then what we do, we help leaders create safer and more productive workplaces. And we'll talk about the rest, later on. Here's where we're going to start. Failing to consider team dynamics in your role as sales leader means you may be leaving 5 to 20% of your potential revenue on the table. It's a huge number, and it's a bold statement, and we've seen this and more as we have done our work in the last couple of years. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to define what I mean by team dynamics. We're going to talk specifically about how it impacts sales. And then we're going to talk about how to improve it. And at the kind of the back end, we'll have a case study. So I just want to tell you a bit of a story first of all. So I'm going to see if I can't stop sharing. All right. So the screen should be gone. You should be Louis and myself, right? All right. Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Lou. Let's just imagine that a friend of ours just had a promotion, and we want to celebrate by going and getting a kind of a special gift for our friend, and we don't quite know what to get our friend, but we sit down in our living room and open up our laptop or our phone or our iPad, and we start to just kind of think about special things for people who have just got a promotion at work. And pretty soon, we kind of zoom into, a real nice pen, maybe even if it could be engraved, but a real nice pen is right. Okay, great. Now let's think about where I want to, where are the nice pens in town? Well, there's Office Depot, of course, and then there's some specialty stores, and there's some department stores. They've got gift and office-y type things in there as well. Anyway, find a store, and we start to get up off the couch and get into the car, drive towards the store, and now we're standing outside the store, and just about to go in the door, little bell tinkles. There's a clerk sitting behind a desk there, and the clerk looks up, and okay, let's pause there. Because there's three things that I want to talk about that have been happening along the way. So I'm going to get the slide deck up again. Share screen. There should be an easier way of doing this, right? We do that. We should have the deck up here. All right. So here's what we've done is we've gone and we found Green and Stone. I think they're in Chelsea. And we've just gone inside the door. The first thing I want to remind us of is the enormous investment in time and money and creativity, someone's energy, the passion to create this store, and all the resources to make this happen. Someone had an idea. Hey, I have a passion for pens. I want to sell them to people, share my passion with people. So I'm going to find a nice location. I'm going to gut the interior, set it up so that it matches. I mean, this looks like a lovely little store. You can just imagine what it looks like inside. So interior design, the window displays outside to attract the passersby, the inventory selection, and all the money it costs to get those pens into the store, website design, PR, marketing, advertising, all of this stuff just to get me inside the store, and nothing has happened yet. That's an enormous expenditure of effort. Let's keep that in mind, because what we want to do is we need to pay for all of that enormous expenditure of effort and time and money, don't we? Also, as we move from the comfort of my chair, and you can see it's a very comfortable chair in a fantastic place by the fire, and we start to move toward the store, two things are happening. My intention to buy is going up. And so when I'm sitting there just noodling around, I'm kind of interested in doing something, and then I find something, and then I'm motivated. I get my awareness goes up, and so that also is my intention to buy goes up. I get in my car, I start to drive towards the store, and I'm thinking about it, and then I'm standing outside the store. Intention to buy is pretty high, and I step across the threshold, and my intention to buy is as highest as it's probably going to get, without maybe some others, some other inputs, but it's very, very, very high. The other thing that's happening is that the competitive options as I move from my chair to the store drop. When I have my iPad in front of me, there's 1,000 competitive options right in that square foot, 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters of screen. And as I then think, okay, well, it's a pen, that shrinks the various options. And I get in my car with a destination, I'm narrowing it even further, but I still, if I pass by an Office Depot, I could still turn there. If I pass by, a department store, could still turn in there. Get to the mall or on the street where Green and Stone is, I'm walking down, I still could get pulled off, right? But when I step across that threshold, the competitive options drop to virtually nothing. So my intention to buy is at the highest that it's going to be. There's no competitive pressure in sight. The door is slammed shut behind me. The store clerk has looked up. We have eye contact. This is the last meter right here. And one of three things is going to happen now. There's either going to be no sale. So either something happens, they don't have the inventory, or it's too expensive or not expensive enough, or something like that, or something goes on in the interchange with the salesperson that causes me just to say, oh, thanks. Like, for example, if the salesperson just does the standard, how can I help you? No, thanks, just looking. All right, well, you know where I am if you need me, right? That's okay. I'm not really being fully engaged. And I might just have a little wander and then just drift out of the store. So that no sale could very much happen. Or I could sell. Hey, listen, I've got a budget in mind. I know what that budget is. And that person could just match me up with something and I could leave with a sale. Okay, mission accomplished. Or could be sale plus. It could be, I bought the pen plus some nice writing paper, or I bought the pen and a warranty, or I bought the pen and a pencil set, or something else happened. And I'll tell you, but I did have this experience a year ago, exactly this, and they ended up spending way more money than what I originally thought, because I ended up having this marvelous experience in this store with someone who really appreciated the craft of penmanship, really seemed to understand, the event that I was trying to celebrate, and was really trying to celebrate that event, along with me. And so just there's some nice pens out there, and then said, you know what, before you make one decision there, let me show you this. And I walked out spending more money than I thought I would, and was super happy. So these are the things that are going to happen. This is the power of what goes on, all that investment up front in building the store and getting the inventory together, putting up the website and everything else. All that stuff was turned out to work. Now we know that the quality of the salespeople is fundamental. That last meter, it's solely in the hands of the salesperson. And so when we're thinking about getting someone into that store, we think very carefully about the hiring criteria. What kind of person are we looking for? What kind of strengths are we looking for? Remuneration and rewards. We want them to be super motivated to show up and bring their best self and sell like crazy. Job training, what the products are, what the services are, why we've got those particular products and services, who the customer is, what they like, what they don't like, what they're, all that kind of stuff. Some sales techniques, how to open the conversation, how to ask closing questions, and then how to operate the cash register. So we do some job training, and we know, of course, implicitly, intuitively, that there's a conversation going on between two people, and we want to have people who like people, and so we will make sure that they have some good interpersonal skills. So we hire the best people we can, and and even so, what we find is that when we take a look at sales, a number of salespeople, or if we group them in sales teams, we will see a large variance sometimes. There's always some variance, but sometimes there's a large variance in sales performance, even though we've standardized and done well on all these other things. So it seems like that there's something else going on here. We don't quite know what it is. And that's what I want to talk about right now. When we have two people talking with each other, they're doing it in the context of a social group or social setting, a social context. And there's something going on here that's below the sense of our intellectual immediate awareness. It's kind of happening subconsciously, but there's some emotional stuff that's going on, and emotions are, they're contagious. They'll be felt by the other person. If I'm having a great day as a salesperson, and listen, I used to sell a lot, so I know if I'm having a great day, guess what? The other people are going to have a great day. If I'm coming in and I'm not quite on my game, the people, my prospects, my customers, they're going to feel that. And I think we know that, right? So I'm going to get some tea. Just sit and imagine for just a sec, right? What kind of, as a customer, think about the kind of the best sales experience that you've had in the last little while. I'll get some tea here. All right, so we've got the social context between the two of us, but there's some other dynamic going on. It turns out that the salesperson isn't standing there just with you. The salesperson is actually being affected by the social context of their immediate teammates, even if those teammates aren't on the floor, even if they didn't come in today. That sense of connectedness with a sales team actually impacts how I feel about everything. And this is also accelerated by my immediate supervisor, or my sales manager, or in this particular case, the store manager. Store manager can have a very large effect on how I'm feeling. And therefore, if I'm feeling better, then I'm going to transmit that over to my potential customer, and the likelihood of them feeling better is going to go up, and the likelihood of them buying, their intent to purchase is going to go up, and the opposite is true. And you can just see this, for example, if I'm a salesperson and I just sold a fantastic pen to someone who came in off the street, and I come off, the customer leaves, and I turn around, I go to the back of the store, and there's the sales manager and my team, and I say, hey, I just had a great experience and sold that, whatever it is, Mont Blanc 2040 pen, and my sales manager goes, well, why didn't you sell them a pen and a pencil set? Or did you get the warranty or not? Or your hair's a mess, or something like that. It's going to take the wind out of my sails, and it's going to undermine my sense of confidence. And if that happens repeatedly, the next people that I'm going to meet on the shop floor, I'm going to be bringing a whole different game. And that is going to reflect, and I'll show you that it does reflect in my sales numbers. But if I've got a sales manager who says, Alex, you did a fantastic job. We were just sitting here watching you go, and you had a fantastic experience with that customer. They really loved what was going on there, and congratulations to you for selling the Mont Blanc 2040. Well done. If I get that consistently, I'm going to be just chest out, shoulders back, and I'm going to be walking on the sales floor with that sense of confidence every single time. So it turns out that the customer who walks in is actually working in a social context that includes a whole lot of other people other than just the sales clerk. And these things drive the key things that every sales manager thinks about: customer satisfaction, sales conversion rates, basket sizes, retention. Is the customer going to come back? Customer loyalty. And these things drive the lifetime value of the customer. These things also drive referrals. So what is this magical thing at the top of the screen there? Of course, you knew I was going to say this. It is psychological safety. This is a phrase that has been rediscovered 22 years ago by a Harvard researcher, and who defined it as this: it's the sense that we all have when we're in a social setting. If I do this here, will I be hurt, embarrassed, or criticized? And it starts with just speaking up. If I speak up, if I ask a question, if I offer some advice or anything at all, and I get embarrassed or ridiculed or criticized or any kind of pushback, that is actually going to drop my sense of psychological safety. And the likelihood of me doing more of that gets reduced every single time that happens. And when you're in sales, the number one thing you need to do is you need to be able to communicate. And when you can communicate in a social setting with a group of people or with a customer, you can actually collaborate. And collaboration is particularly important in a sales setting because the customers come in with a particular problem. And they know, customers come into a setting, you know this, when you walk into a store, you don't want to be sold anything. You barely want to buy something. You do want to walk out with what you need in order to solve whatever the reason that you came there for. But the process of selling is inherently, at least initially, antagonistic. And so what we want to do is we want to get by that. And so as a salesperson, if I can communicate well, and if I can then collaborate, get into this collaborative mode. Oh, your friend has got a promotion. Well, tell me all about that, and tell me about your friend, and what is that person like, and right, now we're starting to get on the same side of the table in the collaborative mode. That comes from higher levels of psychological safety, and then that leads into creativity, which is again the problem solving. Now, psychological safety isn't just a monolithic single thing. It turns out that the scientists are able to kind of tease apart the various threads of it. And they've got 5 main threads, which they call social domains. And these are things that activate the brain's threat and reward system. When we are under threat, like we're being criticized, or even if I anticipate that I'm going to get criticized or humiliated, my brain freezes. And we know this. You know, when you feel nervous, you remember back in school, right? The teacher, you haven't put your hand up for a reason because you don't know the answer. And the teacher calls on you and you freeze in that moment and your mouth goes dry, everything. Well, that happens to, it's not just, full on freeze or not. There's a whole range there. And so as we go through these 5 social domains, all of these things can impact that sense of threat and or reward, and reward being, oh, I'm going to be praised, I'm going to be complimented, I'm going to be supported, right? So think about the threat and reward as we go through these 5 things. Certainty. Do I feel sure? Do I feel sure about my environment? Do I feel comfortable in my environment? Do I know what's coming, next day, next week? For example, do I know when I'm going to be working? Is this schedule for the next 2 weeks? Is it always posted and known and consistent? These are the types of things that help me feel just kind of better about the environment around me. Autonomy. Do I feel that I can make choices? Can I walk up to that customer and kind of be myself and not ask the standard question, may I help you, but do it in my own way. If I make suggestions, if I make, any kind of problems, if I work on the problem with them, can I do it my own way without having to worry that I'm going to get criticized, even if I make a mistake? Because sometimes when we're trying to problem solve, may not go the way we want it to go, right? Do I feel I can make choices? Relatedness. Do I feel cared about, in particular by my peers? Do they have my back? If I need them, if I don't know the answer to the question, and can I turn around and ask Sam or Pat, hey, can you guys help me out here? And if I know that they will, because they care about me, they've got my back, that gives me an extra set of confidence that will show up as I'm dealing with that customer. Are things fair? Is work fair? Or is our pay fair? Just things like that. We have, as human beings, a very refined set of fairness and unfairness. And you know this happening if you've ever tried to cut a cookie in 2 and one of them is bigger and one of them is not bigger. You give the bigger one to one kid and you give the smaller one to another kid. One of them is going to be yelling about fairness. And then significance. Do I feel that I matter, particularly in the eyes of my direct supervisor, who has a larger influence over what my work life is all about? These things combined come together and then drive my behavior, and that behavior then flows out into my relationship with my customer. Now, interestingly about this, we've talked about the KPIs at the bottom of the screen here. And we know those can be measured, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But it turns out that psychological safety can also be measured. And this started off with, or was really reinforced by Google a few years back, who had just finished up a 3-year study of 180 teams. And they didn't quite know what they were looking for, but after 3 years, they'd found that psychological safety, more than anything else, is critical to making a team work. So let's now pause for a sec. I hope that the key message here is that psychological safety is present in every team, because it is, and that you can see those arrows, and those things are going to influence those KPIs. So now let's take a look at those KPIs in greater detail. So if you're a salesperson, you'll know all of these KPIs. So there's customer satisfaction, which oftentimes we use Net Promoter Score or true value. There's a number of ways of measuring customer satisfaction. Basket size, average transaction value in dollars, items per sale. Of course, McDonald's is famous for doing this. I think 10 or 15 years ago, they found that they could increase their items per sale and the basket size simultaneously by asking, would you like fries with that, with every meal? And that single question has generated billions of dollars for McDonald's. The conversion rates, we know what those are. And then retention, there's a number of ways of tracking that. In the retail setting, for example, they'll talk about return visits, how often the customer comes back into the store. This is called a causal map, because we know that these things actually cause that, or it's called an impact map, because what you can do is you can actually define how much of these things individually is impacting, first of all, each other. For example, customer satisfaction, it influences basket size, conversion rates, and retention, and then on to team sales. What we can do as well is we can actually put people on the other side. Now, do we think that people influence customer satisfaction and basket size, et cetera? Well, of course we do. How do we know that? Well, if you take the people out, if no one shows up for work, then you know that all those things go to zero. And so we know that people impact those. We've just not been able to successfully measure people and get an accurate metric or KPI, which we can then use to determine the impact with those KPIs, except that now we can. And Conductor has got and been using for the last 3 years a survey, a 25-question survey called the PS 25. PS standing for psychological safety, 25 for 25 questions. It takes only about 3.5 minutes to complete the survey, and you end up with some numbers. And what you then can do with those numbers, now you've got a metric, you can actually relate those metrics to the KPIs in your organization, and sales KPIs light up. Customer satisfaction absolutely lights up. So these are actual impact numbers that have come from work that we've done just a few months ago in a large sales organization. And this is what the numbers mean. It is the percentage of impact that's driving customer satisfaction. So how much of my improvement or my increase or decrease in customer satisfaction is related to people or PS 25, the psychological safety of the teams, 28.2%. How much of the increase and decrease in my basket sizes is related to psychological safety? And in this particular group, it was 22.5%. So think about that. 1/5 of the value of the basket size is being influenced by the psychological safety in your team. 10% of the conversion rate, 16.2% of retention. This is amazing. And why is it amazing? Well, because we've always known, we've kind of known intuitively, but now we can actually see it. And what we can also do with this is we can actually track the financial impact. So let's just take a look at this conversion. Now, what if we could get our conversion rate in some teams up by 9.8%? Let's go see what the financial impact would be. So here I've got a single location of Green and Stone. $40,000 in revenue a month is what they typically do. Their cost of sales is 40%. And so on $40,000, that would be $16,000. This leaves a gross margin of $24,000. The general and administrative, which is the rent, the lease for the place, and the heat and the light and the phones and the website and all the rest of that good stuff, and maybe a salary for the owner, and the accountant, that's general and administrative. Sales and marketing is the people who on the salespeople, and maybe a sales and marketing campaign, that type of thing. And so in a typical month, my conversion rate of 20%, which is 100 people come into the store, 20 people buy, it's 20%. I've got a pre-tax profit of $2,000, and that is 5% of revenue. All right, so that's the baseline. What if we could increase our conversion rate by 1%? In other words, what if we could get our conversion rate from 20.2 up just 1% to 20 from 20 to 20.2? Well, the nice thing about conversion rate is that there's a 1-to-1 correlation between conversion rate and revenue, or it's very close. So if I go up by 1% here, I'm going to go up by 1% there. Now I got 1% increase in sales. Here's the cost of sales, the 40% of that, $400. My general and administration doesn't change. I'm not paying any more in rent. My website doesn't cost me any more. And I'm not paying any more for my sales and marketing. I'm not spending any more money on marketing. All I'm doing is I'm maybe influencing the psychological safety of my team and somewhat, and that's helping to drive up the conversion rate by 2%. Now, the net difference, the pre-tax profit, the cash flow is $240. So you know what? It's a nice meal for my family and myself once a month. On an annual basis, it's $3,000. So not so bad. A nice meal, right? But if I had 50 stores, that's starting to be some real money. And well, what if I could increase that by 5%? And I just, all these numbers just go up significantly. So I've just gone from 20% now to 21%. So in other words, of the 80 people that left the store, I'm just selling one more of those people. Can you do that? Can we do that? Of course we can do that. And what happens here is really significant. My sales goes up by 24.20 from the 40,000. That leaves me with profit of $1,452 per month on a single store, which is $17,000 a year, which is a really nice holiday for the family, presuming that we can travel. But if we can, that's a really nice holiday. Maybe it's a camper van or something to go from Brisbane to where's something. Where do Brisbaneites go for holidays, Lou? Anyway, I know. But if you had a chain of stores, or if you had a larger sales team, right? So the 800, 900 people in the work that we're doing, this other sales team, if we can get their close rates up by 1%, that is a staggering amount of money. And imagine that we could get it up to that 9.8% that I was talking about on the previous slide. Now our sales goes up by we've increased our conversion rate by 10%, but the profit has gone up almost triple, from 5% to 10%. These are huge numbers. This is why it's so important to be able to measure this thing, because it is measurable and it's significantly related to sales performance. So now you can use it like any other metric. Okay, let me take you through a case study and show you how this works in practice. And so this is a national retailer, and we first walked in to see the head of retail and their head of people and their CEO. They said, "Hey, Alex, nice to see you. You're a lovely Canadian guy, but listen, we've been running our business for a long time. We have squeezed all the juice out of that particular lemon. There's nothing, right? We know our business, and we think all of our effort is now going to be going into our online stuff and omni-channel and that kind of stuff. But hey, listen, if you think you got something special, go ahead, you try it out, and then get back to us and let me know what you did." And so that's what we did. We ran the survey across all of their sales teams, all of their retail sites, and got their KPIs. And when we take that stuff and put it into our platform, into the Conductor platform, all we have to do then is literally click a single button, and out pops the following report. So this is a completely unretouched version of that report that I'm going to walk through you with. So title page, easy to do. An introduction, talking about psych safety. I've already talked about that. Let's skip over that. Table of contents. Well, you can see that we're going to talk about psych safety. So I'm going to talk about psych safety over here. Then we're going to talk about the team performance. I'm going to talk about it over here. Then we're going to see if they link, which I think they do. And then what can we do to unlock some of that stuff? And then I'll tell you what resulted after spending a couple of months, 3 months with their particular team and leadership. So here's the first page of the executive summary. And first of all, participation rate 53%, so a little lower than normal. So we're already knowing that there's, of the 1,473 people who were invited, just 53% of them completed it. And so we already know that there's 47% of people that were not willing to take 3 minutes of their day on their phone, right? Just pick up their phone and just go like this for 3 minutes. They weren't willing to do it. So you know that there's probably some kind of psych safety issues going on there. Then we have the overall score. So 25 questions amongst all these people summarized up, score out of 100. They've got 66. Not danger zone, but it's not a particularly good score. And then you can see the overall distribution here. There's some people feeling really psychologically safe in the green zone. Some people feeling in that middle zone, kind of okay. That's where most organizations, the bulk of people are kind of operating. And then, but lots of people here, a third of the organization feeling lower than 60, which is psychologically unsafe. And there's some people down here feeling just awful. Leadership influence. This gives us a sense of how the leaders, the direct supervisors, are contributing to the psych safety of the people that report to them? Are they helping to lift their psych safety, like these people over here? Or are they kind of keeping it kind of okay, like these people in the middle? Or are they kind of helping? They're not helping. In fact, their people are feeling less psychologically safe because of what's going on from their leaders. And you can see there's just a huge pile here. Then we take their KPIs and we're able to do some internal benchmarking, which allows us to kind of take a look at their best teams and then rank all their teams. Where's my fancy pen? Right here. Rank all their teams, again, using whatever KPI they give us, from best performing to lowest performing. And then we can try to figure out how much potential money or revenue is there. And here, there's a huge amount, $13.4 million a month in potential revenue. Now, we're not going to get all of that, but surely we can figure out how to get some of that. Let's keep going. Here is, I'm going to flip through this a little quickly, but here's the a summary of the 25 questions and its heat map. So you can see the ones that in green that are pretty good, the ones that are in red that are areas of concern. I feel safe to take risks on my team. So imagine that you've got salespeople who don't feel safe to take risks. Well, that's walking up to a customer is taking a risk, right? Sticking out your hand, saying hello, trying to come up with some kind of creative solution, maybe asking a closing question. These are all, sales is full of risk for people. And if you're not feeling that comfortable, you're going to miss out on a lot of this stuff. I feel okay to make a mistake. There's another area of concern, particularly low score, 53. You can see that, I don't know if you can squint and see some of these, but you can see that some of these things, in particular in the orange and the red, you can imagine that you're on a sales team and things aren't fair. My team members don't encourage me, right? And I don't get ongoing training in order to do my job well. These things you can see are going to undermine my sense of confidence, both in my own abilities, but also on whether or not my teammates have my back. And if they don't, I'm going to walk onto the store floor or into my sales meetings with a different sense. What we can then do is we can then see where psych safety is on teams from higher to lower. So here's all the teams, and this is the overall psych safety. You can see some teams are actually feeling pretty good. Some are okay. Some are not so good. And leadership influence. So all those, the things that we've talked about earlier, we can now just break that down onto a team by team basis. And it allows us then to be able to bring additional support, learn from the teams that are actually doing great, and then bring some support to, I mean, this is out of 100. Leadership influence on that team right there, 26.4. Wow. There's some support needed to go on with that particular leader and that particular team. So that's what we'll do there. Now we've got psychological safety kind of well quantified. Let's take a look at the KPIs. And again, we do this internal benchmarking. We can see that there are some teams that are doing, their customers have great customer satisfaction. Other teams, less so. It only looks like a point difference, like a one point difference on a 10-point score, but that's 10%. 1 point out of 10 is 10%. And so that's a significant range. And again, can we learn from here and can we boost this here? And sales conversion, here's the monster, right? We've got sales conversion rate at the lowest teams here at 7%. In other words, 100 people walk into a store or 100 phone calls made by the sales team, only 7 sales versus the best teams up here. And it's not just one of them, there's 1, 2, 3 that are just rocking it. They're doing 32, 4.5 times the number of closes between the teams. Wow. And listen, when we take a look at sales teams, there's lots of factors that go into it. Like in retail, there's location and there's the economic makeup of the people that are in or around that location. There's all kinds of reasons why you're going to have differences, but that's a huge difference. And so, is it costing us any money? Yeah, there's opportunity here. So there's $13 million. So we're able to quantify what the opportunity is. If we could get those lower performing stores up, how much potential additional money, as you saw on the financial chart from 3 or 4 slides ago, if I can get my 20% conversion rate up to 21, that's going to drive a significant amount of revenue in that store. over the course of the year. Now we know where those opportunities are. Now, do they relate? Does psychological safety actually relate to, does this thing over here relate to the KPIs? And we've got a statistical engine there that takes all the data and it actually says, hey, yeah, there are 9 questions that meet the statistical threshold that they actually are correlating. So what that means is, if we take a look at these 9 questions, the question A4 here, I know everyone you're probably all going like this, head on the angle, kind of squinting, right? A4, I feel my manager trusts I will do what is expected of me. And that impacts both customer satisfaction, or is correlated with customer satisfaction and sales conversion rate. What does this mean? It means that in teams where the manager trusts the staff, customer satisfaction in those teams is higher and sales conversion rates are higher. And the converse is also true. In teams where the manager trusts less, or people feel that they're trusted less by their manager, then sales conversion rate is lower and the customer satisfaction is lower. This is very profound stuff because it gives us 9 opportunities to walk into these teams and help to support and lift and change the dynamic. And that's what we're starting to do here. Now we get to scatter plot these things. I'll focus on this chart right down here. We've got the psychological safety at the bottom from best here to lowest here. We've got the sales conversion rates. There's the 31.9, the 32%, best there, lowest down here. Here's our 70 teams. And the size of the bubble is the size of the opportunity, the revenue opportunity per month. You can see that down here. I got some huge opportunities down here. Now the red teams, of course, we're going to treat the various colors tell us that we need to treat these teams differently. And we've got the next page actually takes that same chart and it gives us some hints, some clues as to what do you do with red teams? Well, we need to build safety. There's a lot of vulnerability in here. Listen, they know what they're supposed to do. They know they've got to get those close rates up there and increase the basket size. And so going on about it even more isn't going to help. In fact, it's going to hurt because numbers are threatening, and being held accountable just to a number actually makes me feel less and less psychologically safe. And so what we need to do there is, before we can do anything else, we need to take those people and those teams and those managers, and we need to build the sense of safety. Let's let everyone start to breathe a little bit, calm down. Okay, let's build on the communication. Let's build on the sense of safety. Let's get him into at least across from the blue area. Blue area, feeling pretty good psychological safety wise, not performing. However, so the leaders there, or what we can do there is we can work on teamwork, just build on that teamwork, that collaboration, starting to hold these people accountable to the numbers, right? Okay, let's work together to get that number up. The green teams set challenges. They're psychologically safe. They're killing it. They want challenges. These are the people that are walking in excited and enthusiastic every single day. They want challenges. You can learn from them. And 4 is something that a lot of companies don't talk about. When they do internal benchmarking, when they take a look at their best team, they go, oh, 32% close rate. That is the best that we can do, because we've got 70 teams and they're the top, right? Well, it turns out that oftentimes, when we see this over and over and over again, your best teams get better. And that means if your best team gets better, let's learn from them, because they can lift everybody else. So that's the report that we gave them. We then worked with them for a couple of months, and the result was that average conversion improved 14.3% across the entire network, which resulted in $19 million in additional annual revenue. And the word from our head of retail, when he saw, this is an actual quote. I was in the boardroom, jumped out of the chair and uttered this. And so I take that as the greatest possible compliment. Psychological safety can be improved. All right. Now, just 3 tips as to how you might want to do this. And by the way, if you want this slide, let us know and we'll be happy to send it to you. First of all, make sure that every individual feels comfortable to speak up and is heard when they do speak up. it takes courage to speak up, and it takes courage to speak up, particularly when the team is lower psychological safety, or has a history of lower psychological safety. So embrace that courage, make sure they're heard, acknowledge what they're saying. The second thing is make sure that the people in the teams, particularly in the sales teams, work well together, work on this collaboration, work on this mutual support. Every one of them needs to know that their teammates have got their back, because they need that sense of confidence when they go out and they face a situation or a question that they've never heard before. They want to feel comfortable just saying, hey, I don't know the answer, but I know someone who does. Hey, Marty, come on over here. Got a question for you. The third thing is encourage and support everyone in your team, and all the time. Encourage and support everyone in your team all the time. They need to know that you have their best interests at heart. When they can feel that, that's when they reciprocate with their trust and with their loyalty, and they will bring the best of themselves to the sales team, and you'll see that reflected in your KPIs. All right, let's revisit the agenda really quickly. I said we'd explain what team dynamics is. Team dynamics is psychological safety, which is present in every team, isn't it? How do they impact sales? As team members feel more supported and relaxed, they perform better with their customers. And how do we improve team dynamics? So they improve sales, focus less on the numbers. They already know what they're supposed to do, and more on the people. And I had a conversation like this with a national sales team, the senior leadership, huge organization, tens of thousands of people. And this senior leadership team, and they are going, we are ruthlessly focused on the numbers. So we absolutely have to make our numbers. And someone piped up and said, you know, Alex, I've been watching your presentation for the last hour, and the thought struck me that because we have this relentless pressure to hit the numbers, that some of our salespeople, rather than trying to look for the best solution for the customer or to sell them, you know, a basket of goods, because we've got all kinds of products that all interrelate with each other, they're just trying to get a sale to get the close rate number up and then get on to the next call. And they caused the whole meeting to stop. And then all of a sudden we launched into 10 minutes of discussion about that. And that's what I'm trying to say here, is that your people know what their numbers are. Let's make sure that they feel supported in order to get those numbers. All right. And of course, my favorite quote there, which I just repeat for a laugh. All right. So conductor, we started off at the very beginning. The reason we named our company this is because a conductor supports every person in an ensemble to play their best together. And we think that as a sales leader, that's exactly what you're trying to do. We know it's what you're trying to do. We can help in a number of different ways. The first is we can do a PS psychological safety survey, very quick and easy. And you've seen some of the charts. We can extend that by doing a full conductor audit. And that's where we bring in your KPIs as well. And we match them all up and do the internal benchmarking. And again, that's what our platform does. Very fast to do that. The curriculum, and we have a curriculum and accreditation. So if you're interested in learning more about this, or if you want to have your leaders learn more about this stuff internally, or if you're a consultant and you want to learn more about this stuff, we've got all kinds of coursework. And I know Jane's on the call, and she's got all this coursework just ready to go. And we've got an accredited professional network. We have professional consultants in I think it's 7 or 8 countries now around the world that are there to help. If you need some assistance in driving some of the stuff into your organization, we've got the people that can help you. One of the fastest ways to get going is just to simply do a micropilot. And that is to do a PS25 survey across a small team. At the end of it, you'll receive an executive briefing plus the executive summary report, of which you've just seen, except it'll be, of course, with your numbers and your team's psychological safety. We can do this very quickly because the platform does all of the stuff automatically. And so start to finish 1 to 2 weeks. Just let us know here. And here's the contact information. Again, wanted to thank you for taking the time to sit with us. if you have any questions, now's a great time to answer them. He'll read out any questions that have been in the chat so far, and we're happy to stick around for as long as you like. If you want to just brag about the Brisbane weather, or tell us about your sales experiences. Whew. All right, I'm gonna have some tea while we're waiting. Lou, what's out there? Any questions in our chat? Or we
pretty quiet crowd so far, but yeah, if you have any questions. One thing I always think about when we talk about second order opportunity, when you talk about the the teams, if they can get to 31, that doesn't mean that that's the highest conversion rate that you can get to. I always think about the old gymnastics at the Olympics, the 1910 Olympics. The gold medal was somebody jumping onto the pommel horse and landing, and now it's like 3 flips with a backflip and a twist.
Right.
And
right.
So it always makes me think, it's the same thing with a sales team, right? Just because you hit this doesn't mean you can't improve. And you look at anything throughout history, humans are always improving.
Well, that's right. And, speaking of Olympics, I don't know whether you were around when Nadia Comaneci, the Romanian gymnast, she got tens on her. She got 7 tens on her competitions, and they had to recalibrate. And so that's what we want. That's what we want to do, right? So if 31 or 32 is the top, okay, great. Let's get everyone up to 31 or 32, and then let's recalibrate.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for all of you for your attention today, gang, and we'll look forward to talking to you one-on-one soon. Bye for now.